It was so funny. I gotta find the thing that I had. One of the things in today's world, especially in today's world, is learning how to focus. You know focus? Kids don't understand focus. But you know what? I took this bag of tools, I used it throughout my entire life, and I taught all my students the same thing, which I'm going to give to you. Have a clear, open mind, one of the biggest tools in that bag. Now, how many of you guys are inspectors? You know, you got a tough job. You go in houses or buildings or what? Everything. Do you have good lights? Back in the day, we had terrible lights. I mean, our job was super dangerous. We went inspection for stealing gas. People are just something else. They hide things and put places over there where you can't find the meter. But today's lights, they're pretty powerful. And I suggest, this is 3 watt, I suggest for your safety, before you enter a building, you have a clear, open mind what you could run into. I went in a building to shut off the meter, and there was all these wooden pellets on the floor. I heard that, and walked over, heard that. Could barely see with the flashlight. There were receptacles up on the ceiling, but no light bulbs in it. And the windows were covered, so it was pretty black in there. And I kept hearing these noises under my feet. Well, I shined a light and I started following the pipe. Following it, and a friggin' rat went over my hand. Out of the building, got on the radio, called my boss, and says, I refuse to do this job because it's unsafe. And you will do that job now. I said, no, I'm not doing the job, and neither is my man going in that building. Well, he come out there in about a half hour. Give me the light. I see the chicken run. This guy ran out of the building so fast, it was unbelievable. You know what was down there? This guy was doing voodoo and killing dogs and cats, and the rats would eat the carcasses. That's how sick people can be. I hope to God you never meet those type of people. But I want you to be vigilant. I want you to protect yourself. And I don't want you to trust anybody. Now, Quasimodo always said, never take your eyes off your opponent. Have an eye like a tiger. A tiger fears no man, nor no beast. And he went on and on and on. But you know what? I use that bag of tools. I use it today. I use it with my grandchildren, my kids, because it is very, very helpful in today's world. Learn, retain, and recall. Can you teach your people that? Something like measure twice, and cut once. Mind over matter. That is a tool you'll never forget once I show you. How to identify your opponent's strengths and weaknesses. Feel no pain. Building self-esteem. Very, very important tool. integrity. How many of people at that company I worked for that did what they did have integrity? Zero, right? They committed a crime against humanity. Learning the difference between right and wrong. I mean, you're going to get guys that do sloppy work, and if you're under control of those guys, you got to straighten their butts out. Do it right the first time, because a callback costs you double, doesn't it? And sometimes triple. Discipline, very important too, for all of us. We could be disciplined and join a group called the Power of the People. Now, I talked to Derek Bibble. I asked him, excuse me, have the American Backflow Association write up something that we could send to the IEPA demanding cross-connection control and proper backflow protection. Then I'll put it on my website, and when the people start opening it, we ask them to send it to the IPA. The only thing that's going to help us if we flood the IPA with thousands and hundreds of thousands of letters. Because big business is in control. See, big business pays taxes, lobby money, and keeps these politicians in office, don't they? You and I are nothing. Yeah, we pay our taxes, but it doesn't mean nothing compared to what the companies pay. So who do they favor? And one of the answers I got was, who's going to pay for it? Take some of that bonus money and pay for it. When we went to Linda Chaplavia, in her office, we met with the highest environmental person there is from Lisa Madigan's office. He would not open this book. He didn't want to see the evidence. Why? Because he wouldn't have a job later. That's why. Determination. Well, when I knew I was going to get sick, I was determined to help other people with my experience. Because I believe everyone has a cross to carry. And I think it is my belief that how well you carry it is the way you're going to be judged. That is my belief. And I'm proud to carry the cross God gave me so I could help other people. I'm a grandparent of 3 kids. I cry when I look at them, knowing that they may be getting contaminated water from their schools. And our politicians don't care. So go to the doctor. What I suggest you to do is whatever notes he writes, tell him you want a copy now. Because if you don't get a copy now and something happens to you and you want a copy later, it costs you 3 times the amount or 4 times the amount. It's ridiculously high. And if you're ill, make a book and see if you can help anybody with your own illness. I had so much therapy, and one of the greatest therapies was massage therapy. I have a special instructor, a massage therapist, called Daniel Moore from Inspired Wellness. Now, Daniel was trained in Hawaii by one of the elders. What do I mean by an elder? A true Hawaiian that can cure people with roots and weeds and whatever. And when a doctor can't find the answer to some illness, he calls this man. The man examined me. And and he told me that I had a bad stomach. See how bloated it is? Called stomach dissension. Some of the chemicals. Hair loss from the chemicals. This Daniel Moore, how could I describe him? A saint on earth. He worked with me and helped me. I have 32 pictures, colored pictures in my book of some of his work. And one of the pictures, who ever heard of a Hawaiian tea leaf? Anybody? You did? You know what it is, right?
I've heard of it.
It's a sacred leaf they use for curing people and drawing toxins out of your body. Now, you know, there's all different kinds of toxins. There are airborne toxins. Well, Kaipo, who was the elder, suggested to Daniel that give Tom a tea rag. Daniel said, well, how the heck do I get the teas? I'll send them to you. They come moist. But you have to use them within 3 days. And you have to pick a day that's clear, hot, and sunny. Now, I had lost 70% range of motion to my right arm, 50% range of motion to my left arm. Daniel laid me down on his bed, and I had my arms out like this, and at that time, the range of motion was gone on both arms. And then he wrapped all my body with tea leaves, wrapped my neck and my head, and that's all I seen was this. And I laid, oh, he covered me with blankets afterwards, and before that he wrapped me in saran wrap so the leaves wouldn't fall off. And the idea is to bake in the sun and sweat these toxins out of your body. Well, I'm laying like this, and I'm shaking, and I couldn't take the pain. And I started praying. And I said, God, please help me. Please help me finish this thing. Because it's an hour you lay there. And then, in the blue sky, a black cloud came over. And it was still blue above it. And these particles came down. And they were hitting my chest. And they were hovering like a flying saucer over the center of my chest. And this lasted for about 5 minutes. And I said, Daniel, look it, can you see it? And he said, no, Tommy, son, I can't see it. But the same thing happened to me. So I wrote a testimonial on it. And he asked his friend, Jacqueline, to do a picture of it. And this is what it looked like, with the exception there was blue sky over the black. I know what a mummy feels like, because that's how I was wrapped up. When Daniel unwrapped me, he said he never smelled anything like it and never seen the amount of water that came on me. Right afterwards, he suggested that I take a sea salt bath for 20 minutes. And that's supposed to accelerate the process of removing the toxins. I think that saved my life. Of course, my first doctor saved my life when she diagnosed me with a toxic overload and gave me cell food. So I had a lot of doctors that really, really helped me, and they were all doctors that really cared and knew that about toxins. You have to, if you have somebody that's sick, call me. I will get you the right doctor. You have to have an environmental doctor. Now, when I first got diagnosed, so to make sure she was correct, she sent me to a neurological chiropractor. She sent me for a hair analysis. The hair analysis was off the chart. I was told that I either should be bedridden or dead. And then they sent me to a brain imaging doctor to do MRI, EEG, EKG, a SPECT scan, and a PET scan. And then they compare them. And yeah, you got toxic encephalopathy. That's brain disease from toxins. So I had wonderful doctors, and I'm still here today, but I'm sick, and you know, it's very, very rough to go on a daily basis. I'm just looking for what caused the other things that I had. There's one thing that I learned in martial arts that I am careful about. See, you learn judo, jiu-jitsu, and karate. You learn all the pressure points, and this is when you're in an advanced stage. When you're in 5th or 6th year, you learn how to kill. And that wasn't me, okay? And some of the competition, you have to know a lot of dirty tricks because you fight a lot of dirty opponents. Well, lucky for me, I had a car accident, I injured my back, somebody hit me, went through a red light, and I couldn't compete. So what did I do? I taught kids with behavioral problems. And the first kid that come up to me said, "What are you gonna teach me, bubble ass?" I said, "Whoa, what's your name, son?" "Scott." I said, "Scott, you are gonna be my partner." "What do you mean by that?" "I'm gonna use you to demonstrate." So I think it was the second week. "Hi, Mr. Schultz." And the parents, you know, they just dropped these kids off. They didn't even come in and watch. They wanted to get rid of them. So in 3 months, I invited the parents to see their children compete. I gave them belts, white belt, green belt, brown belt, you name it. And they loved it because I took my time with it. And when the parents came in, they couldn't believe it was their child. That was one of the highlights of my career. Teaching children what's right and wrong. Well, let me tell you something for this bag of tools that you can have, what my instructor did. Now, I beat him. His name was Kazimoto. I beat him, I think, about 8 times in the course of the, there was 27 of us. And every week, there's an exercise period before you start. And then, once you start, he kneels down, and you line up quickly, and kneel down with him, and then you do your technique for the day. Well, this one day, Kaz was kneeling down. What did that mean? We knelt down. And he went up to the class, and he goes to 27 of us. Arendoi! What does that mean? Free practice. Hajime! What does that mean? Begin. Well, there's 40 throws in judo, 40 counters, and a counter for each counter. That's a whole lot to remember. You're lucky if you could remember 6 in 3 years. Tayatoshi, Izagaruma, Ogoshi, Osolagari. You gotta remember them. Those are my favorites. I beat Kaz 8 times, and I was number 8. I thought that was symbolic of me beating him. Well, it was like this. All 27 of us, including me, didn't know what hit us. Kaz bowed out and he left. We had a substitute in there. Well, I was 19 years old, man. I was tough punk. I'm going to ask him next week. Well, I went up to him, and he had his back to me. I couldn't do it. I freaked out. So the next Friday, I came up to him, and he had his back to me. He said, Tommy, son, what is on your mind? I said, I want to know how you did that, guys. He said, the power of one. I was 19. What the heck does the power of one mean? Does anybody know? What it means is God gave us anything we want to do. The power of anything we want to do. It is up to each individual what he wants to make out of himself. How hard he wants to practice. Why did Kaz wait 3 years to do this? Because he had this bag of tools. He knew our strengths. He knew our weaknesses. You know he wasn't going to throw us with one of our strongholds. He remembered our strengths and our weaknesses. He learned, retained, and recalled everything he taught us. All 27 of us. He was unbelievable. Now, that day, let's see, I was 19, he was maybe 36. That day was December 7th. Who knows what that day is? Wow, I got chills when I thought of that, but it took me like 2 years to figure it out. I had to go back into my files. You see, these bag of tools today, we can all use them. One of the biggest ones is mind over matter. Now, people don't really understand that. But I utilized that tool in my pipe fitting class. Because I would get people started to fit. I can't get this together. And in Quasimodo's class, there was no such word as can't. No such word as can't. What do you mean you can't get that together? They won't let me. Oh, they won't let you? Do they have a mind? You see, any item in this room, other than yourself, is matter. It doesn't have a brain. You're the one with the brain. And the biggest mistake a person makes in pipe fitting is they get too close to their work. They're up here and they can't see it. They don't utilize the wall or the floor or the ceiling to measure. They want to get it now. It don't work that way. You pipe fitters know that. So all you have to do is stand back from your work, utilize the ruler, measure twice, cut once if you have to cut a fitting, and you'll see what you have to do wrong or have to do right. It is such a great tool, it's unbelievable. Now, I'm going to pass some cards out to you. Oh, one other thing. You guys got pencils and paper? I had an MRI April 22nd, 2010. Where I had it was Gulf Imaging. Never go there. When you're 60 or over, a blood test is required to check your renal. And if you're diabetic, which I am, a blood test is required to check your blood sugar. They did not do either. I was not aware of that. Well, when I got there, they gave me an injection, and then they waited a half hour and put me in this tube. I says, wait a minute, I cannot fit in that tube. I have big shoulders. Oh, we get bigger men than you in there. So what are you gonna do? It's the only tube they got. Your doctor said you have to go in there. Okay. Well, I was supposed to get a PET scan right after. So they had an IV in me to give me nuclear medicine once they pulled me out. So I'm in there like this, and the needle went through, it's pinching me. Well, what happened, it went through my vein, okay? And when they put the nuclear medicine in, it went someplace, but not in my vein. So they had to call a technician, reset the needle, put me back in there, and then do the PET scan. Well, 2 days later, I was in Mexico fishing again, and I collapsed in the boat, getting out. I had no use of my legs, none, either leg. They had to drag me to the van, put me in my thing, and the guy come over and said, we gotta send you home. I said, you ain't sending me no place. I'm not done with my vacation. He said, well, you can't walk. I said, I don't fish or cast with my legs. Just get me in over. So they did that. And how would I go home without my friends? Who would help me at the airport? So I went for 11 months of therapy for my legs. 11 months. I had a hard time. I still have a hard time going upstairs, downstairs. So I was getting acupuncture and cranial sacral therapy. Right after the MRI, they found a blood vessel or a vessel that feeds your brain cerebral fluid was crimped. They straightened that out, which helped a little. But after 11 months, she said, Tom, we are not getting nowhere. I want you to go, she gave me a prescription. And I gotta remember this, guys, this is important. I want you to go pick up this thing I'm gonna give you. It costs $25. I said, what is it? You'll see when you get there. So she must have called in advance because they were waiting for me. They had a Band-Aid. I said, what's that? A Band-Aid. And you're gonna attach you're going to get this 1-inch square called a flat battery. And you're going to tape it to the Band-Aid. I said, what's that going to do? You know, she says, do it. So I did it. And in 2 days, I was walking. It has to do something with physics. Now, their website is called biosmartglobal.com. And on that website, it shows where it cures people that couldn't walk. biosmartglobal.com. Now, before, I was told to wrap it up, so I got to rush. Now, I'm not going to ask you guys for money, okay? I know you're all working. Could you take as many cards as you want and pass them around? However, if you know somebody that has a lot of money, a businessman, some people have more money than they'll ever spend. See if they will donate to this cause. I want to make this big. I want to unite. I want to get more people and more people. Now, I just got this before I left. Or I better find I was given this before I left. My campaign manager is one of the biggest water advocates you can find. When he told my story, he donated the 2 websites. And he wants to help this cause. And here's what he has to say. There will be a new website dedicated to water advocates. That means everybody here today. I'm inviting you to join the Fight for Clean Water campaign, and at the same time, advertise your business on the internet. It's a $25 a month contribution, and all proceeds go to the Fight for Clean Water campaign in America. The company that is marketing the campaign is called Online Cafe. It is providing a service designed specifically for us that will advertise our businesses. It will change your ads monthly and give us a graphic design support. Our campaign already has caught the eye of Hollywood producer Howard Lowry, who is interested in making a documentary and movie on what we talk about today. I look forward to your partnership and meeting you after we're done. I can take down your name and information, and I will have the campaign team call you. Zachary Zolgar is his number. If you're interested, let me give you Zachary's spelling of his last name. Oh, Zachary isn't with a K. Let me spell his name for you. It's Z-A-C-H-A-R-Y. Last name, Z-L-O-G-A-R apostrophe S. I don't see nobody writing. Pardon? Last name, Z-L-O-G-A-R apostrophe S. 317-4517. Gentlemen, I want to thank you all. I'm very proud to be here. I want you to think of your children and your grandchildren and what we can do to prevent them from toxic chemical poisoning. Thank you and God bless you.